Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, Shiv here. Alright, so 2015 is over. Boo. But hey, here we are in 2016 with a brand new stuff on the horizon. But yet, no word yet, not even an inkling. So we're going to take a look back and look at the best cards of 2015. Now, I've already seen people making their, statements, oh, this was the best card, and this, and they normally give you like a top 3. Now, fuck that shit. I feel that's a real disparaging thing, because you're always going to pick the top 3 meta choices. So I want to talk about the cards that actually affected the game and changed it both positive and negative. So we're going to have the best of each class, as well as 4 neutrals, one for every rarity. So without further ado, the best of 2015 begins. Starting off with Druid, we have the Darnassus Aspirant. Druid has always been one of these decks that, man, when it works, it's, oh my god. But one of the key problems with the deck was not hitting your ramp. I can't tell you how many times I just got completely shredded out because here I am holding 4 and 5 drops, but meanwhile he's got like 3 minions already on the board on turn 3. I had nothing. Well, Darnassus Aspirant answered that question very nicely. You could play it down to be able to trade, and oh, look at that, onto you were at 3, which means you could go into, say, Shaded Naxxramas, or insert whatever card you wanted to play. Added huge amounts of value. No longer was Druid at the mercy of many aggro decks, because one of the strategies for dealing with the Druid deck was just go pure face. The moment they drop a taunt, silence it, keep going face, keep putting that pressure. Well, Darnassus Aspirant gave them a more secure ramping ability. When you look at the amount of cards that Druid normally stacks in their deck in order to accelerate their progression on their curve, it's 4. Alright? Now, by increasing this to 6, that really changes some of the probabilities in the game. Alright? Simple math says that that's 20% of your deck is based on a ramp mechanic. Now, a third of that 20% is a fucking minion. So, GG. Yes, its death rattle is kind of a shit thing, but, people got really clever with that. But it definitely changed the way people looked at Druid and kind of revitalized them to some degree. But then again, Druid is never going to die. No matter how much people wish it would. It's always going to be an impactful deck. Alright, moving on to the next class we've got is Hunter with Quickshot. This really was a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. When you went through like all the Hunter cards that they got in the 3 sets that were released in 2015, none of them were overly spectacular. There are a couple exceptions. I will give Ram Wrangler, that King's Elec minutely, but really it was all about the quick shot. Alright, it was another damage tool for face hunters, and also in many cases the card draw they needed to just push for that lethal. It gave them that little bit of extra reach if they went completely batshit crazy and just expended their whole hand and went all face with it, which is just face hunter, so yeah, makes perfect sense. But it was also used in mid-range decks quite effectively, so yeah, this definitely takes the cake for hunters. Mind you, they really had a slim selection for obvious reasons. Alright, coming up next is the Flamewaker for Mage. Now, some people might say, oh, well, this was better than that. Okay, yeah, that's your opinion. But Flamewaker literally introduced a new archetype to Mage. So for that alone, it gets my vote. And this was a really nasty addition to the game. Flamewaker was able to just shred down Control Warrior like it was going out of style. Matter of fact, Warriors hated this card, with the exception of Patriot Warriors who went, oh, please, go right the fuck ahead. So, yeah. But against other classes, oh, this thing could be total annihilation. And it was a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. Moving on to Paladin, Mysterious Challenger. Alright, so what happens when you take a 6-drop and make it 6 mana, and then attach a possible 5 extra mana value, and also thinning your deck by as many cards as it puts up? You get arguably legendary quality minion at the cost of an epic. No, I'm not even kidding when I say this, and I'm not being salty and I'm not ranting here. but the amount of value that you get off Mysterious Challenger should be reserved for Legendary. But the fact that it is an epic means you can take 2, thus really giving you some fucking consistency in your deck. Yeah. This is what's one of the main reasons why Secret Paladin, this is the reason why Secret Paladin is not only a strong and dominant deck, but will probably continue to be a strong and dominant deck, because the only true counter to this guy coming onto the board is the Flare, which is a massive tempo loss, no matter how you try to look at it. True fact. Moving on. For Priest, we have Wormrest Agent. Now, I know somebody might say, well, what about Entomb? What about Light? You know, and I was like, okay, hold up. Wormrest Agent was put in there because pretty much everything else fit within the whole Priest mindset of messing around, manipulation, and control. Wormrest Agent, however, opened the doors to the viability of Dragon Priest. Now, we all saw Reynad try to make Dragon Priest a reality after BRM, and it just was nowhere near as good as it should have been. Reason being, they had very few card choices for the 2-drop slot. It's like, yeah, you got one that's really good with other things, and then you got one that's only good when you heal, so it kind of gets situational. But there was no defensive option. Well, Wormrest Agent was that defensive option. And when combined with another card that's on this list, really solidified Priest as being a non-trash tier fucking class. Seriously, people grinded to Legend because of this fucking card right here. Moving on. Unearthed Raptor for Rogue. Okay, so Rogue, it was a really... It wasn't even hard to pick this card, alright? I'm not even gonna lie. There were like 4 good cards that came out for Rogue in 2015. Alright? Unearthed Raptor, Burgle. Yeah, I know, Burgle. Seriously, Shiv? Bear with me. Beneath the Ground, and Tomb Pillager. Now, Tomb Pillager's value is still being tested out, so... but I do like it. Burgle is... no. Beneath the Ground definitely has some fun factors, and ironically enough is one of the most hilarious ways of fucking with a Reno deck. Oh man, yeah, good times. But when it came to, hey, let's have some real fun, Unearthed Raptor definitely takes the cake. It's a 3-mana 3/4 with probably one of the most powerful battle cries I've seen in this game yet. Yes, it does have a prerequisite of you must have a Death Rattle friendly minion on the board in order for you to do this, but seriously, you know how many Death Rattles are in this game? Metric fuck tons. So you almost always got value out of this. You got value out of Haunted Creepers, you got value out of Piloted Shredders, Sky Golems, Sylvanas. So yeah, definite value there. So it even introduced some really interesting fun concept decks. So yeah, Unearthed Raptor takes the fucking cake. Alright, so now we should be getting to our neutrals, and the first one we have is the Jeweled Scarab. Really, Shiv? Why the Jeweled Scarab? It's like, well, seriously, the Discover mechanic really hit us all like a baseball bat to the face. It's just so damn good. So damn good, ladies and gentlemen. Alright? Now, the fact is, this is a beast, which means it plays well in Hunters, both mid and face. That I've proven. And when you apply it into the Hunter category, congratulations, all your power already resides in a 3-cost area, and 2 of the most annoying charge minions in the game are also 3 mana, and there's another one in there that's also 3 mana, and a little bit more annoying as well. So, yeah, this fits so perfectly with Hunter, I'm surprised more people haven't figured this out. The fact is, Animal Companion, Kill Command, Unleash the Hounds, all 3 mana. Arcane Golem, Wolf Rider, Argent Horse Rider, all 3 mana. Now there is a plethora of 3-drops that are in this game, and that will affect things. But also consider this, Big Game Hunter, also 3 mana. So yeah, good times. This card really did change a lot of things in the game. And also combining with Bronzebeard was fucking amazing. So much value. This card definitely deserves the best in common. Alright, moving on to the next one. We have Grim Patron for the rares. Yes, I mean, I really went through the entirety of this. And in the history of Hearthstone, there has been no single rare that has caused as much havoc in this game as Grim Patron. The closest one you could get is Argent Commander back when it was a 4-3. True fact. And even that, nowhere near compared. Grim Patron, arguably one of the best cards to come out of BRM. It was so powerful, especially in conjunction with cards that should have been fixed way before this card ever was released. Made it one of the most dominant decks of 2015. And led to probably one of the most hilarious nerfs right before fucking World Championship I've ever seen. I don't know. I might actually say the Buzzard one was a little bit more brutal. But Patron didn't die after that. And that should tell you right there that you can't keep a good dwarf down. I know, it's so bad. Moving on to epics. Now, I'm going to, before we get into my reasoning why I picked this card is, when it comes to epics, Blizzard has this weird sort of design philosophy. They don't give you truly epic creatures. What they give you are some really niche utility minions. Big Game Hunter, Blood Knight, things of that nature. You know, they're all extremely situational and very, very niche. Now, Twilight Guardian still falls into that because its battlecry is heavily dependent on the dragon synergy, but it became such a widely adopted card in multiple classes that it definitely takes the cake in 2015 as the best epic. That and some of the other choices were just downright fuck no. Again, there's no such thing as overly good epics in this game, unless they're like a weapon or a spell. Alright, moving on. Emperor Thurzan is your legendary of 2015. Who is fucking surprised by this? I mean, my god. Revitalized Freeze Mage, fucking opened up possibilities all over the place. Druid was like, oh, thank you. Double combos became a reality, even triple combos. Not even kidding, that actually did happen several times. And if you need to know how you do triple combos, see Chromagus. So, yeah. Definitely opened up some huge possibilities in this game. I mean, Warriors were loving it. This created scenarios that nobody had ever conceived of before. And, yeah, so much value. I mean, the card literally enabled Malygos to be a viable minion in Shaman. True fact, guys. True fact. So, good times right here. Emperor Thurzan, again, can't keep a good dwarf down, and this one is just a motherfucker. Oh my god. So, that is my best of 2015. Now, again, this is my personal opinion from my experiences in the game. These were what I felt were the best of 2015. Let me know what you thought was the best of 2015 down in the comments section. Do you agree with what I said? Do you think I'm completely full of shit? Let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your grandmother while you're at it. Yeah, old ladies dig me. Till next time, this is Shiv saying stay safe, have fun, and may RNGesus bless you.